Somehow, an unneeded live-action movie got a prequel. But guess what? I cannot believe I'm saying this, but this movie was so much better than I was expecting, I'm not gonna lie. So here we are, another live-action Lion King movie. This time around, it's a prequel to how it all began and how it all leads up to the story that everyone knows off by heart. I actually wasn't expecting a lot into going into watching this, as I thought it'd be another generic cash grab for Disney, but it actually sailed quite nicely. I mean, this was much better than that 2019 movie. Way better than expected, and it has some great elements that its 2019 movie wish it could have had to make it not a woke remake. So in today's movie review, I will be talking about Mufasa, the Lion King. We will be talking about how this movie is actually a really well made prequel, and why it's better than you may think. Before we start this video, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe, as well as hitting the bell icon to see more content. Thank you, and enjoy. First off, this movie is a major upgrade over its 2019 predecessor. The main complaint about that snooze fest was because of the characters being extremely charmless and emotionless without a difference between their appearances. Here, they have more personality, their expressions are actually more highlighted here, thanks to a more expensive budget. The voice talents are actually giving it their all here, and the CGI is also still great. This definitely helps it stand out way more thanks to this. Secondly, we actually have an original origin story here instead of it being copied and pasted. We finally get to learn how not only Mufasa becomes king and leads towards the original movie's plot, but also how Mufasa and Scar evolve to becoming the brothers turned rivals they are in these movies. I think the concept was done well here, even if people may disagree. If this were 2D animated and set in the same lore, then it'd be a different story. Another great redeeming aspect of this movie is that its visual effects, while slightly weaker than its 2019 predecessor, still look absolutely stunning, and for once don't make the movie feel like a generic documentary nature movie. It makes sense that the visuals aren't as good, as the budget was mostly used for the animals to make them feel more realistic than before, but still, it's all a spectacle from start to finish. Here's another great point of this movie. The pacing is also improved massively. During the 2019 movie, I felt so bored watching it, even struggled to stay focused during it, and even fell asleep watching it. This time, though, the pacing is way better because the characters are doing lots of things, and many scenes translate quicker, which makes me feel more entertained. And since it's an original story and straight to the point, I even had some fun watching the chemistry change between the characters. Something else that was in need of an improvement from before is that now this movie has a story that not only makes sense, but is not the same thing thanks to being a prequel to the 2019 movie, and also a sequel because the whole story is told via flashbacks and setting is therefore still in present day, aka a few years after Simba became the king of Pride Lands. Watching the same thing over and over again does get stale really quick, but here it was a relief to find something new and has some clever elements from some of the direct-to-video movies. The music score here is also pretty great, as some of the original songs here are actually better than the remade songs in the 2019 movie, because you can actually feel the excitement and joy the singing voices bring to these songs. There are a few that did suck though, more on that later, but the rest were catchy as ever. Not quite the sing-along trip that the 1994 film was, though, but it's okay. At least we're getting somewhere. Thankfully, the characters here are very likable still. Thanks to the better animation this movie provides, it's easier to stay engaged with the storylines each character has. Scar also got some much needed character development and is more likable as a result. Kiara, the daughter of Simba and Nala, is also still as adorable and charming as ever, just like in her original appearances. And Blue Ivy Carter is very great voicing her. And Mads Mikkelsen as Kyros, having great spicy and sinister-like voice talents, fitting well for Kyros. Everyone else returning to their original roles are also great. Concluding the positives, this movie has excellent direction from Barry Jenkins. Improving the 2019 movie with his own art style, Barry brings a bunch of life into this movie, which would have otherwise had been another soulless movie if it weren't for him coming to the rescue. The visual levels are still good, as with his own idea of kids witnessing Shakespeare-like work for the first time, the characters are more enjoyable, and there's more respect to the source material. Definitely the best part of the whole movie. Now for the negatives. The first one being that this movie really felt unnecessary, as the only reason it was even made is simple. Its predecessor was a huge box office success, and many people, Lion King fans especially, hated the 2019 live-action remake. Its main focus on the story also is Mufasa's rise to be king, making the whole sequence of Rafiki and Simba and Nala's daughter, Kiara, somewhat dubious. Pumbaa and Timon also exist here too, just to lighten up the mood a bit. Take them both out, and nothing changes. My second negative for this movie is that some of the facial expressions on the characters are still a little bit uncanny. Even though the budget was more expensive and it allowed the artists to create better animation, there are still a few instances where some of the CGI feels unfinished and therefore makes some of the faces look really uncanny. I get that it's tough to make a realistic lion in these movies, especially when giving out emotion, but this could have been easily resolved and not felt like it was rushed at the last second. Another negative for this movie is that while the songs are still good and the overall soundtrack is great, they are nowhere near as memorable as the other past songs and are inferior. There are two songs that are really bad. The first one being I Always Wanted a Brother. This song repeatedly uses the word brother, and the word is stretched out painfully to fit the song. Because of this, it sounds more like brother instead of brother. In fact, it's so bad that it has managed to become an internet meme, which I despise a lot. And the second song is the villain's song, Bye Bye, which also sounds ridiculous, as again he says bye bye way too much in the song. I don't know what happened here, but these songs are atrocious. Finally, for a film that has little reason to exist, it feels uninspiring or lackluster than some other movies. It also has the following that copies another movie in 2024. A plot where two friends grow apart, younger actors playing Mufasa and Scar, an origin story based on a timeless story, two brothers that were once friends, now enemies. Where have I seen this before? Seriously though, this is basically Transformers 1, but Disney-fied. Also ironic that Scar was also named Taka as a cub until he gets his scar on his right eye. But unlike the said movie, the themes and messages are nowhere near as powerful here. To say the least, it's a significant drop. Overall, my final opinion on Mufasa, The Lion King, not only is it a major improvement over its 2019 movie, but it is also a very charming experience and offers plenty of fun throughout. Mufasa, The Lion King is way better than its soulless 2019 predecessor. Unlike that overrated mess of a movie, this actually has plenty of charm, and the characters are more likable now, maintaining some of the magic that made their original appearances great. Barry Jenkins definitely came in clutch here, as he still brings out the same visual levels, and ensures to bring in a good story featuring Mufasa and Scar, alongside the music. Yes, some of the music numbers are worse, and yes, it may be a Disney-fied Transformers 1, but what it lacks in sound design more than makes up for a simple and quick origin story. This is of course nowhere near as good as its classic 1994 predecessor, but it was still pretty fun to watch. Way better than I thought it was going to be, and a much needed cleanser after that dreadful 2019 trip. So while I still wouldn't call this outstanding per se, it's definitely worth another look, should you be wanting more of The Lion King though. What is your opinion on Mufasa, The Lion King? Do you agree with the fact that it's better than the 2019 movie? What did you most enjoy of this? And how would you make a live action movie done to the perfection? Let me know in the comment section below, and also don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you are new, and hit that bell icon to see more content on my channel. Thanks for watching. Mufasa, The Lion King is a major improvement over its predecessor, thanks to it fully realizing its characters and traditional charm. While it may not quite rule as hard as its classic predecessor, it still rolls out beautifully in the circle of life.